The victim, if he really loved the savior, would say, "Look, this is my problem. You don't have to fix it for me. Just support me while I fix it myself." That would actually be a demonstration of love, taking responsibility for your own problem and not holding your partner responsible for them. If the savior really wanted to save the victim, the savior would say, "Look, you are blaming others for your own problem. Deal with this yourself." And in a sick way, that would actually be a demonstration of love, helping someone solve their own problem. Instead, victim and savior both use each other to achieve emotional high. It's like an addiction. They fully in one another. Ironically, when present with emotionally healthy people to date, they usually feel bored or lack chemistry with them. They pass on emotionally healthy, secure individual because the secure partner's solid boundaries don't feel exciting enough to stimulate the constant high necessary in the entitled person. For victim, the hardest thing to do in the world is to hold themselves accountably for their problem. They will spend their whole life believing that others are responsible for their fate. That first step of taking responsibility for themselves is often terrifying for savior. The hardest thing to do in the world is to stop taking responsibility for other people's problem. They have been spent their whole life feeling valued and loved only when they are saving somebody else. So letting go of this need is terrifying to them as well. If you make a sacrifice for someone you care about, it need to be because you want to, not because you feel obligated or because you fear the consequences of not doing so. If your partner is going to make a sacrifice for you, it needs to because he or she genuinely want to, not because you have manipulate the sacrifice through anger or guilt. Act of love or valid only if they perform without conditions or expectations. It can be difficult for people to recognize the difference between doing something out of obligation and doing it voluntarily. Here, litmus test: ask yourself, if I refuse, how would the relationship change? Similar, ask, if many partners refuse something I wanted, how the relationship change? If the answer is that a refusal world cause a blowout of drama and broken china plate, then that's a bad sign of your relationship. It suggests that your relationship is conditional based on superficial benefit received from one one another rather than an unconditional expectation of each other along with each other problem. People with strong boundaries are not afraid of a temper tantrum, an argument, or getting hurt. People with a weak boundary are terrified of those things and will consistently mold their own behavior to fit the high and low of their relations emotionally roller coaster. People with strong boundaries understand that it's unresponsible to accept two people to accommodate each other 100% and fulfill every need to need fulfill every need the other has. People with strong boundaries understand that they may hurt someone feeling sometime, but ultimately they can't determine how other people feel. People with strong boundaries understand that a healthy relationship is not about controlling one another emotion, but rather about each partner supporting the other in their individual growth and in solving their own problem. It's not about giving a about everything your partners give about. It's about giving about your partner regardlessly of he or she gives. That's unconditionally love, baby. How to build trust. My wife is one of those women who spend a lot of time in front of the mirror. She loves to look amazing and I love for her to amazing too. Obviously, night before we go out, she come out of the after an hour long makeup, hair, cloth, whatever women do in their session and ask me how she look. She usually gorgeous every once in a while through she looks bad. Maybe she tried to do something new with her hair or decide to wear a pair of boots that's some flamboyant fashion designer from Milan thought were adve- avant-garde. Avant-garde. Whether the reason it just doesn't work. When I tell her this, she usually gets pissed off. As she much back as she much back into the closet or the bathroom to radio everything and make us 30 minutes late. She spouts a bunch of four-letter word and sometimes even slings a few of them in my direction. Men stereotypically men stereotypically lie in this situation to make their wives happy, but I don't know why, because honestly in my relationship is more important to me than feeling good all the time. The last person I should ever have to censor myself with is the woman I love. Fortunately, fortu- fortunately I married to a woman who agrees and is willing to hear my uncensored thoughts. She called me out of my bullshit too, of course, which is one of the most important traits she offered me as a partner. Sure, my ego gets bursted sometime and complain and try to argue, but a few hours later I come circling back and admit that she was right and holy crap, she make me a better person even though hearing it at I hate hearing it at the time. When our highest priority is to always make ourselves feel good or always make our partner feel good, then body end up feeling good and our relationship falls apart without our even knowing it. Without without conflicting, there can be no trust. Conflicting exist to show us who is there for us unconditionally and who is just there for the benefits. No one trusts no one trusts a yes man. If disappointment panda were here, he tell you that the pain in our relationship is necessary to cement our trust in each other and produce great. For a relationship to be a healthy, Both people must be willing and able to both say no and hear no. Without that uh, negation, without that occasional rejection, boundary break down, and one person problem and value come to dominate the other. Conflict is not only normal, then it's it's absolutely necessary for the maintenance of a healthy relationship. If two people who are close are not able to hash out their difference openly and vocally, then the relationship is based on manipulation and mispre- misrepresentation, mis, misres- misreciprocation, and it will slowly become toxic. Trust is the most important ingredient in any relationship for the simple reason that would trust the relationship does not actually mean anything. A person could tell you that she love you, want to with you, would give up everything for you. But if you don't trust her, you get no benefit from those statements. You don't feel loved until you trust that the love being expressed towards you come without any special condition or baggage attached to it. This is what's so destructive about cheating. It's not should the it about the trust that has been distorted as a result of. Without trust, the relationship can no longer function. So it's either rebuild the trust or say your goodbye. I often get email from people who have been cheated on by their significant other but want to stay with the and are wondering how they can trust him or her again. Without trust, they tell me the relationship has begun to feel like a burden, like a threat, must be monitored and questioned rather than enjoyed. The people here is the most people who get caught cheating apology, apolo- apology and give the it will never happen again spill, and that as if fell into various or face completely by accident. Many cheaters accept this, this response at face value and don't question the value and given by their partner pun totally intended. They don't ask themselves whether those value and make their good person to stay with. They are so connected with holding on their that they fail to recognize that it because a black consuming their self-respect. If people cheat, it because something other than the is more important to them. It may be power over other. It may be validation through. It may be given into their own impulses. Whether it is clear that the value are not alleged in way to support a healthy relationship. If the cheat if the cheater admit this or come to term with it, if just he gave the old I don't know what I was thinking. Straight I was stressed out and drunk and she was their response, then he lacked the serious self-awareness necessary to solve any relationship problem. What need to happen is that cheater have to start peeling away at their self-awareness onion and figure out what value caused them to break the trust of the and whether they actually still value the they need to able to say, you know what, I am selfish. I care about myself more than the. To be honest, I don't really respect much at all. If cheater can't express their city value and so that those value have been overridden, then there are no reason to believe that they can be trusted. If and if they can't be trusted, then the is not going to better or change. The other factor is regaining trust after it's been broken. It's been broken is a practical one. A track record, if someone break your trust, word are nice, but if there need to be a consistent track record of improved behavior, only then can you beginning trust that the cheater value are now elegant properly and the person really will change. Unfortunately, building a track record for trust take time. Certain, 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 certainly a lot more time than it take to break trust. And during that trust building period, there are likely to be pretty cities. So both people in must be conscious of struggle they are chosen to undertake. I use the example of but this process applied to a bench in and when trust is distorted, it can be revealed only if flowing into two steps. The admit the true value that caused the breach and own up to them. The trust breaker build a solid track record of improving behavior over time. Without the first step, there should be no attempt at a reconciliation in the first place. Trust is like a china plate. If you break it once with some care and attention, you can put it back together again. But